Yo, what is going on, everyone in the XRP community? Hope you guys are having yourselves a fantastic day today. So I got some information for you guys that I wasn't exactly able to go over on stream this morning because we did have the Fed Payments Improvements webinar, which was titled something along the lines of Progress and Pain Points in Cross-Border Payments. And oddly enough, they may as well just have called it a freaking cryptocurrency webinar because every single question that kind of came in after the beginning briefing all had to do with cryptocurrency, digital assets, CBDCs, and it was quite hilarious that someone from the Fed Payments Improvement seemed to get irritated that there was so many questions around digital assets. Now, that's the reason why I really couldn't go over this today, and I didn't even really find out about this morning, but this is something interesting that I found while scrolling through the Ripple subreddit. So let's go ahead and get into it real quick, just kind of give a brief review of the whole market today. Bitcoin is getting a little frisky. It was hanging down in the mid 6,000s recently, but has managed to just shoot up right into the 8,400, and that's kind of where it's been battling for the last hour or so. Again, I know that last time when Bitcoin reached the highs of like 14K, it really, yeah, like XRP did move along with it, but not to the same kind of extent of just straight up like pretty much tripling in the span of a few months. Now, considering the Bitcoin halving is coming up here in about less than 5 months, this is kind of the phase where the halving starts to get priced in. The last three halvings, Bitcoin has went parabolic every single time, kind of leading up to the halving and then really going hard after the halving has been complete. But again, for example, with Litecoin, it's not a guarantee of a pump, but it's like if you look at history, and like the Bitcoin halvings are a lot more serious than, the proof of work altcoin halvings. XRP, again, at the low 20s, not exactly the most exciting price action, but a great time to accumulate. Me personally, I have accumulated enough. I have honestly, I can say with full confidence, it's like I am done accumulating until we get after, like the next freaking big boom, because I've just like, yes, 21 cents is a great price. Yes, 16 cents is a great price. Yeah, I have bought there so many dang times. It's like, all right, I need to keep a little bit of capital out of XRP now and not freaking buying so much. So really, honestly, at this point, it's like my buys are kind of done. It's like I'm just waiting now. Now it's just really the waiting game and see what happens. Still got full confidence in it, but it's just like I've bought in it so much at these levels at such good prices because I mean, oh my God, like 16, 17 cents. It's just, you get so much for so little US dollars, So let's go ahead and get into the title of the video. Is regulation finally coming for XRP? Now, this Wednesday, we do have essentially, it's like the motion to dismiss this class action lawsuit against Ripple, where essentially all that happened was a couple of little savvy crypto investors went on their own will onto a third-party exchange and bought XRP, and they lost money, and apparently that is Ripple's fault. Now, upcoming on the 15th, this is where Ripple is just asking. I mean, they completely discredited every single argument from the plaintiff. I mean, considering the plaintiff was citing CNBC articles as proof for their argument. And we really know how CNBC is not exactly the most accurate source for cryptocurrency information, but there's just a plethora of other things where it's just like, dude, come on, you guys got nothing on Ripple. We got former SEC officials backing up Ripple in this case. And the 15th is like, not the final decision day. I wouldn't call it that, but it's one of those days where the judge could make a decision and just dismiss the case, which would kind of really lean towards the idea of, yeah, XRP is not a security. Now, separate from that, this is what I found scrolling through the Ripple subreddit, is that the U.S., and this is from today, by the way, the U.S. bill proposal referred to Ripple and XRP, and they could have totally titled this something much, much better. But anyways, they were kind enough to link us to it, so we don't have to read through that article. So, right here, and this did come out fairly recently, not, today, but it did come out fairly recently, and this is remittance transfers under the Electronic Fund Transfer Act Regulation E, and this is from the Bureau of Consumer Financial Protection, and the action is proposed rule with request for public comment. And I'm noticing like anything to do with digital assets and regulation, they're always looking for public comment, including the Federal Reserve. So we'll read a little bit into the summary. The Electronic Fund Transfer Act, as amended by Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act, Dodd-Frank Act, establishes certain protections for consumers sending international money transfers or remittance transfers. So now Uncle Sam is really starting to crack down on okay, this whole electronic funds transfer, whether it's digital currency or just nothing to do with digital currency, just electronic funds transfer in general, they're getting more down on that regulation, which is something I like to see. It's not like I'm saying this, this whole freaking proposal is just about Ripple and XRP, but they did get a nice little mention into it. So if we use the freaking best feature on Google Chrome called Control F and we type in Ripple, we can see they actually come up. And I actually want to read this whole thing because it does also mention Swift, and this article does kind of play with the idea of potentially, Ripple Network may work alongside Swift, with that, which that's a very, very vague statement, so that could really mean anything. So let's go ahead and read through this here. Okay. The Bureau has continued to monitor the remittance transfer market since the publication of the assessment report and observes that most of these developments continue to progress. Examples include 1, the continued growth and expanding functionality of the Society for Swift, Global Payment Innovation, GPI, tracking product, which can increase the amount of upfront information available to sending institutions, and the expansion of the major payment card networks. Also, something interesting that came out today, Visa did just pay $5.3 billion for acquiring a fintech startup called Plaid. So yeah, fintech is really it really is kind of a hot topic right now. Not just crypto specifically, but just fintech in general. Sending institutions and the expansion of major payment card networks, capacities to support cross-border payments. And that also reminds me that Visa and MasterCard recently had major outages all across the UK, which is very interesting because a centralized system is going to happen. So the continued growth of fintech, non-bank remittance transfer providers, and their further expansion into partnerships and other relationships with banks and credit unions, which allow such entities to tap into the closed network payment systems that non-bank remittance transfer providers have developed. So now that the government is seeing that clearly international remittances and payments in general, it's not just banks anymore. It is moving over into financial technology companies, and that's been a clear pattern. I mean, we just learned in the Federal Reserve webinar this morning that I think over the last 7 years, 20% of the correspondent banking relationships have just gone poof. Interesting, right? So which allows such entities to tap into the closed network payment systems that non-bank remittance transfer providers have developed, and the continued growth of expanding partnerships of virtual currency companies such as Ripple, which offer both a payments messaging platform to support cross-border money transfers as well as a proprietary virtual currency, XRP, which can be used to effect settlement of those transfers. Now, this really makes me think back to the recent announcement. My brain is really foggy ever since I took that, long break about when this happened. I want to say really, really early December, late November, Ripple made the big announcement of they have, we know that they were already a part of a multiple lobbying groups. And I remember, I think it was late November, early December, Ripple comes out and says, yup, we've got an office in DC. Not only do we have an office practically everywhere in the world, but you know what? Now we got it in DC. So they are literally walking distance from the regulators. And then coincidence, after that happens, and by the way, not to mention that they have engaged with the Trump administration, the full-on White House administration confirmed by Corey Johnson. I really don't find this any surprise that, once they kind of go into DC and set up offices there, you now got this virtual or this kind of, electronic funds transfer regulation starting to be proposed. Since, obviously it's they're seeing that it's not just in banks, it's kind of flowing more to fintechs. And over time, we're certainly hoping that banks have less and less control over transfers or just money transfers in general. So very, very nice mention. Such as Ripple, which offer a both payment messaging platform to support cross-border money transfers, as well as a proprietary virtual currency, XRP. We always love hearing XRP get mentioned. So again, whole thing is not about just XRP, but I like to see the pattern of the government really kind of getting in tune with, we need to establish better regulatory infrastructure for just electronic funds transfer in general, which, will tend to kind of trickle down to Ripple and XRP because, banks and anyone can use Ripple, no problem, but it's just the XRP part, that is where everyone is a little bit on the edge of their seats, if you know what I mean. So now we have this as information, as something to refer to that, were really, insignificant proposals by the US government. Ripple and XRP is getting the nice mention. And not to mention also, guys, this Wednesday, I'm not getting my hopes up because with the crypto space, I got my hopes up for the long term, but I really try to minimize expectation for the short term. But at the same time, I do tend to really freaking overhype short-term things. So do not get your hopes up. RP, do not get your hopes up. But this Wednesday, let's see what happens with this court case. Because it could just get dismissed, but we get no classification. But maybe you never know. The SEC, CFTC could just see, hey, this got dismissed at federal level. So it's like, you know what? I think this is now our time to step in and enact regulation. So hopefully this Wednesday, the motion to dismiss is successful. I certainly do think it will be because, oh my God, did Ripple tear apart every single argument the plaintiff has. And, they cite other countries like the UK and Japan and other countries in Southeast Asia. And I think some other ones in Europe have just flat out said, yes, XRP, commodity, virtual currency, exchange utility token, etc. So it's like, come on, US, you guys are the last one. We really need you guys in here to officially confirm XRP as a virtual currency. What's interesting is Japan, they flat out just call it currency. Like they literally look at it as currency. That's why I believe bank usage of XRP is going to start there. But with the US, it's like, look, most originating cross-border payments, I'm pretty sure, start from the US. So this is a really, really important area to have regulation. Hence, Ripple and XRP is mentioned in this, what we got upcoming on Wednesday, and the fact that Ripple does have an office in DC, walking distance from the regulators. So, guys, thanks so much for tuning the video today. Really did hope you enjoy it. Make sure you smash the like, subscribe, check the links in the description if you do want to support the channel, and go ahead and hit those post notifications. Never miss a video or stream. Yeah, kind of intros, outros, I'm kind of trying to shorten those down a bit. Kind of just keep it all the meat and potatoes, not so much just the appetizers. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning the video today. I'll see you guys in the next one.